Becks Lager beer.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I had a request from a subscriber to see if I could review this stuff, Becks. Now, I was at a funeral the other day for a West Ham fella, and because of all the COVID restrictions, you had to buy all your beer from the shops. You couldn't go into any pubs. Pubs were shut at the time. And there was an off licence around the corner, and I'd bought some beers to bring along with me, but I ran out. So I went round the shop, and they had cans of Becks. Now, I haven't seen cans of Becks in a hell of a long time, because I stopped drinking Becks. The reason I stopped drinking Becks is I used to drink a lot of it. And I think it was in 2014 that they started brewing it over here, and they reduced the ABV. The reason they reduced the ABV, as they do with a lot of stuff, Stella included, is for tax purposes. So you know you're not getting what they're getting in Germany. So I thought, you know what, and most of the time I got it, it was skunked anyway, and I just thought, you know what, fuck off Becks, I've had enough of this bollocks. And I stopped drinking it. Because it was my go-to drink, you know, not my go-to drink, but you know, if I was going to a party or if I was going to have a barbecue or something like that, I'd always get some cold Becks and drink them. But I stopped it because basically they were taking the piss. They were selling a product that wasn't what it said it was. Fast forward to a few weeks ago to the funeral, and I saw a can of Becks, and I thought, you know what, I'll give Becks another try. It's in a can, so it's not going to be skunked, so that is a bonus. And to be honest, I was just going to drink one or two and then fuck off home. But on the inspection of the can, because I'm a sad fucker, it said imported. It said 5%, and that got me interested, and I read all over it. I couldn't see anywhere it was brewed in the UK, and then on the side of the can it says product of Germany. Now, if they're brewing this over here, and they've got all of that on the can, imported, product of Germany, etc, etc. I'll just close that laptop, it sounds like it's frying an egg. If they've got all of that on the can, then you are seriously taking the piss, and you could potentially be taken to court for false advertising. So I'm going to assume, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say, this is the genuine stuff that's been imported from Bremen. Now, quickly, I've been to Bremen. We've done a gig over there in, I think it was 2010, and there was a hardcore punk label that put us on at a venue, and the venue wasn't too far from the Becks Brewery, and they gave us a load of free beer. And the Becks over there was absolutely gorgeous. There was also a red Becks. I can't remember what they were. I should look that up. I should have looked this up before I've done the video. But there was a red Becks. I'm sure I wasn't going mad, but there was a bottle and it had a red label and Becks, and I was drinking some of that as well. And I remember that being quite nice too. Becks, of course, has been going years. 1873. They've been brewing since. And if you look on the film Das Boot, if you've never seen the film Das Boot, check it out. It's a brilliant film. It's about German U-boats during World War II. They're drinking bottles of Becks on the U-boat. And also, if you've ever watched Auf Wiedersehen, Pat, Becks is the beer of choice. There's Oz laying bricks, or attempting to lay bricks. You can tell they've never fucking laid a brick in their life, but he's quaffing Becks as he's laying bricks in the morning. What a hero. Anyway, let's stop gassing and let's investigate this beer. Right, it's a 500ml can, it's 5%, as I said. Now, if this is what it says it is, then this is the stuff that's brewed in Germany. So this should taste different to what you're getting in the bottles, okay? So my advice to you is, if you're going to buy a Becks, make sure you get it in the can. I'm sure the stuff in the bottle is brewed in Northampton. There's rumours going around it's brewed in Luton somewhere, or Bedfordshire. I don't know who that'd be, maybe the Wells Brewery if they're still going, I don't know. But they're owned by Marston, so Carlsberg, who knows who's brewing this shit. They're owned by AB InBev though. So it could be brewed anywhere, wherever the AB InBev stuff is brewed. Probably Northampton, I'd imagine. That's mainly Carlsberg, but anyway, it's it's 500ml can. There is, I mean, everybody's seen this surely. That's what it looks like. Usual caper on the back. That I think is the original label, the big key. That was what was on the old bottles in the Das Boot film, so I'm assuming that's what it is. It says brewed after the German purity law, and the ingredients say it's brewed in the traditional fashion. They brew this in America as well. They brew it in St. Louis, and there's been a big backlash. People just aren't buying it because they know it's not German, and they use American malt and American hops in it. So basically, it's just a rebranding exercise. That's all it is. This used to be really popular in the United Kingdom. That's dropped now completely. And surprisingly, this is really popular in Germany. I think they're the 4th biggest brewer in Germany, or the 3rd. They're one of the biggest anyway. So yeah, mixed fortunes for Becks. That's what happens when you get taken over by AB InBev. Right, let's get this open. Now this is going to be unusual for me because the amount of times I've drunk Becks out of the bottle, just opened it up and the skunk is so skunky, especially from the shop round the corner. In fact, no, I didn't stop drinking it in 2014. I used to drink it round here sometimes, and it was just disgusting on the nose. It doesn't smell too bad. Quite sweet malt, lemon, citrus. Let's get it into the glass. Now I did have some of this. I actually took a can home with me, and I must have had a drunken night, and I just drank it, and I don't remember anything about it because I went to look in the fridge a few days ago for that can of Becks and it had gone. So either someone's stealing my beer or I've drunk that and I'm going fucking insane. Right, here's the beer in the glass. I have to say that does look quite good, all in all. It's clear. That's really clear. Fair bit of carbonation. It's golden straw colour. What have we got on the nose? It smells reasonable, and it actually smells like a German beer. More sweet malt, nice lemon citrus, little touch of spice, getting that now. Interesting. Let's get it down the hatch. Prost, as they say in Germany. It actually isn't too bad, I have to say. It's quite a nice, quite a nice lingering lemon aftertaste on that, and some doughy malt. This isn't as bad as I remember it. I remember out of the bottles, even in pubs, you'd get them, and they'd be in fridges, and they'd be nice and cold, but you could still get that skunky flavour off them. Skunky flavours, if you don't know, they're like very harsh, almost burnt leaves. That's what I get when I get a beer that's skunked. You know, if I do, a lot of the times I won't drink it, but if I do, then I'm desperate. It sounds terrible, doesn't it, if you're desperate? But that's the sort of flavour, like a stringent flavour, and it ain't nice. But this, I have to say, no skunky flavours. It hasn't got that really light, slightly bitter and dry flavour you get from German beers with the big malt. And you can tell it's macro brewed, but I'll tell you something, this is not bad at all. And it's not the worst lager you can buy out of all the macro brewed stuff. I'll So yeah, big difference in the can though from the bottle. It's really good. I have to say, I'm surprised and slightly impressed. I'm going to assume it's imported, so that's probably why it tastes so good. So what's the verdict on this? Well, I have tried this before, but I was in no fit state to even contemplate. I'm saying I've tried it before. I'm assuming I've tried it before because it's disappeared out of the fridge. This is nothing like it used to taste in the bottles. The bottles, someone's going to need to help me out on this one. If you've got a bottle of Becks in the fridge, can you just check for me that it's brewed in the UK? It will say somewhere in there that it's brewed in the UK. This has got imported written on it. It's got product of Germany written on it. It's 5%, which is unusual because the other stuff was a lower ABV. And I have to say it's not bad. It's not the best German beer by a long chalk, but it's perfectly drinkable. It's got no real nasties that I can detect. It's quite heavy on the lemon citrus, and the malts in there, they aren't as big as you would expect, and it's not as dry as you would expect from a North German lager, but I have to say, all things considered, it ain't so bad. Now, this is the only one I would recommend out of the can. I know I keep labelling this point, but I want to make this clear. I am not reviewing the ones in the bottle, because in my mind, that's not really Becks. And don't even get me fucking started on that Becks Fear, is it called? The stuff you get on draft. What the fuck they were thinking. I know what they were thinking. They were trying to save money on the tax because it was 4%. Just stop fucking about with the ABV. Oh, that's AB InBev for you, though. You know, the bean counters there are thinking, oh, well, yeah, we'll just pump out a Becks beer. We'll still call it Becks. We'll still package it up the same. We'll brew it over here and we'll just lower the ABV. Fuck them. They'll drink it. Well, there you go. It's backfired on you now. This isn't as popular as it used to be. Anyway, I'm not going to keep ranting and raving about it. Let's get back to this beer. What's the verdict on this? This isn't too bad. I've tasted a hell of a lot worse. And you've got to remember, this is a big macro brewed German beer. They're owned by AB InBev and they produce an absolute shit ton of beer. They really do. A lot of it goes to Germany. This is popular in Germany, but it goes all over Europe as well. So, on that sort of basis, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Is it the best German lager? No, of course it isn't. It's nowhere near the best German lager. Is it the worst lager you'll get out of the fridge? No. And in fact, you know, if you're gonna buy a premium German beer, or no, if you're gonna buy a premium beer, not a premium German beer, I'd say go for this over Stella, because Stella's brewed over here. Your Fosters and all your other shit, San Miguel and all that, fuck that off. This is probably the best one you can get. It's perfectly drinkable. It's nice if you drink it nice and cold. That is, you know, it's nice and refreshing, nice and smooth. Mouthfeel is quite nice. No real complaints. It's not the best beer, but it's certainly not the worst. I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10, and I'll recommend that in certain situations. You know, if you go into a supermarket and you're buying a big, you know, case of beer, get this. If that's what you want. If you want to have something a bit, you know, a bit better than your average macro brewed lager, get this, but only buy the cans. Don't buy the bottles. The bottles will 9 times out of 10, or more times than not, they'll be skunked because they still put them in green bottles. Green bottles, of course, it's an old thing. Very few German brewers do it now. Becks do it. Hervel's do it as well. It's a sign of import beer, or export beer, sorry, not import, export beer. That's why beer is in green bottles, and it's the worst thing you can do. They go skunky and they taste absolutely fucking horrible. They smell horrible as well. But this is good. 7 out of 10. Recommended in certain situations. And remember, beer is working class. Champagne.